welcome to the Polettirosa Homestead. My name is Donna, and I live here in Southwest Virginia with my husband John on a 50-acre homestead. Today, I'd like to show you how I grow my herbs, how I dehydrate them, and how I store them for future use. The first thing I'd like to show you is where I get them from. I typically go to our local grocery store, and in these little plastic containers, they have fresh organic herbs. So I buy some of them, bring them home, and then I wash them really good. I want to make sure they're really nice and clean. From that point, what I do then is I take those herbs, and I'll take some good plants, like this one's my sage plant, and I'll take off all the leaves and leave a really good bottom part to it, a bottom stem. And I put them in water. Here is my sage, my lemon thyme, oregano, rosemary, and purple basil. I let them sit in water. Sometimes I put them on my kitchen sill where it's nice and sunny out. They love the sun. And I leave them in the water for a couple weeks until the bottom of the plant gets roots growing on it. When the roots get nice and big, I take them and I plant them in pots with really good soil. Let me show you some that I have going right now. Here is my purple basil. I have a regular green basil plant, which is really healthy. Oh, it smells so good. Here I have an oregano plant. And then here I have my lemon thyme. What's nice with lemon thyme is you can run your finger right over it and you could smell the lemons. It smells like fresh lemons in the house. So that's really nice. When the plants get nice and big, like we'll take this oregano plant. Take a nice long stem, and all you do is you just snip it off. Then you get all those clippings that you did, and here's some that I cut today. Here's some oregano and some sage. At this point, what I do is I dehydrate them. Again, I wash them off to make sure they're really nice and clean. And here's my dehydrator. It's an American Harvest. We got it a few years ago at an auction for like $5, and it works great for me. I take my trays, and what I did is I took parchment paper and I made a cutout. It fits nicely over the trays, and it keeps them nice and clean. So first I'm going to take my sage. You put your sage on the trays, making sure they do not touch. If they touch, they may not dry properly, or it will take longer to dry. And you don't want that happening. So you just put them on the tray, just scatter them around. Like I said, making sure they don't touch. Oh, this sage smells so good. And right now I don't have a lot of it because in the winter time sage doesn't grow very quickly. So this is my sage tray. And I do the same with oregano. With oregano I leave them on the stems because they're such small leaves. And with these it doesn't matter that much if they turn around and touch, but it is easier if they don't, of course. Now, if I have any with some nice, good long stems on them, just say like this one, I would take off the little leaves on the bottom and put them in my water to see, because of course I want to grow more of that herb. So just lay them all on here. in the dehydrator, and I set it for 135. 135 will dry them up nice and quickly, and they will be nice and dry. After a few hours, when they've become dry, and you will know when your herbs are dry, because if you take, we'll just say this oregano. If I can run my finger over the oregano and they just fall all off and they're crumbly, they're dry. If you take your finger and go down and they don't fall off or the leaves are bendable, they're not dried yet. And you don't want to take them out early, because if you take them out early, your herbs will not last very long and you'll be really upset because you'll have mold on them. So at that point, after a few hours, when they've all become dry, and in this case, here's the basil that I did recently. And what I'll do is, I have a coffee grinder. I put them in the coffee grinder. And I'll grind them up. When they're all nice and grinded up, what I do is this. I purchased, because I love this iced latte chilled coffee mix, and I love the bottle. So what I do is I take off all the labels, I put it through my dishwasher to make sure it's nice and clean and sanitized, which this will look like, this is what it looks like when it's all done. And I put my herbs in the glass jar, and I make sure to label that. And that's how I do my herbs. Now let me show you my closet where I have all my herbs. As you can see, I've got cayenne pepper, I got garlic chips, I've got onion powder, rosemary, sage. Oh, I've got oregano, my lemon thyme. And what's really nice is if you take your cayenne pepper, say your peppers, you turn around and you dehydrate them and then you grind them up, you put them in the jar. Make sure when you put them in the jar, you put an oxygen absorber in it. This way it helps it to last a lot longer. If you take this giant jar of cayenne pepper and smell it, it smells really good. Now, I want to take you over to the cayenne pepper that I purchased at the store. I really wanted the jar, and there is a huge difference between the two herbs. This is a great way of storing your herbs, and you'll have them for a long time. Well, I hope you enjoyed my video. Please, if you like the content, please hit the subscribe button below. Hit the like. Leave a comment. I'd love to know what you'd like to hear. I want to thank some of the homesteading channels that I've watched and learned so much from. Living Traditions Homestead, Off Grid with Doug and Stacey, Homestead Heart, Deep South Homestead, Homesteading Family. Thank you for allowing me to join this journey, and I've learned so much from you, and I hope I could do the same with you viewers right now. So thank you.